Welcome to the early theories of evolution. In this video, we will be discussing Lamarckism. What is Lamarckism? It is one of the theories of evolution based on the principle, that physical changes or characteristics that the organism has acquired during its lifetime is able to be passed on to its offspring. Now, this theory of Lamarckism is named after the French biologist Jean-Baptiste de Lamarck. Lamarck tried to explain how animals changed over time. How? By means of what he called two laws, One of the laws was the law of use and disuse of organs or appendages or limbs, and the other law is the law of inheritance of modified characteristics. Let's look at his first law. According to Lamarck's law of use and disuse, organs became modified, or changed or adapted, according to how often or how frequently they were used, And if they were used more frequently, what did he believe? It meant that that part that was frequently used will become bigger or stronger or changed so that it could work better. On the other hand, if an organ was disused, wasn't used often enough, it would become smaller until it totally disappeared. For example, he used the giraffe to explain this theory. In the case of a giraffe, Lamarck believed that giraffes once had short necks, that kept getting longer and longer as members of its generation started to stretch and stretch and stretch their necks as long as they could. In doing so, Lamarck believed that each generation would grow slightly longer necks and pass that trait onto their offspring. And according to his law of inheritance of modified characteristics, any changes, or any modifications brought about by the frequent use or disuse were able to be then transmitted to their offspring. He believed that the giraffe got its long neck because its ancestors stretched theirs to eat leaves that were just out of reach. And he took it a step further to say that this stretching of the neck was passed on to their offspring over generations until it reached its current tall length that we see today. Another example of his theory is snakes' legs that stopped developing, according to him, because they became obsolete or no longer used. This acquired trait was also passed on to the next generations. And according to Lamarck's theory, we do not have snakes with legs today is because of this reason. Those legs stopped developing, it wasn't being used. Do you think that Lamarck's theory was accepted? No, very good. Because after the discovery of modern genetics, Lamarck's theory of the inheritance of acquired traits was completely rejected. But although he was wrong, he was one of the first scientists to suggest that something did pass the characteristics of parents onto their offspring. And remember, the knowledge of genetics did not exist in his time. Therefore, he knew nothing about genes or even mutations. Today, we realize that the ancestors of giraffes carried the correct gene for long, strong necks. They therefore did not acquire the gene by straining or stretching their necks. Although Lamarck's theory was rejected years later, it did pave the way for Charles Darwin's theory of evolution. So let's recap. What have we learned about Lamarck's theory? we have learned that Lamarck's theory was based on two related ideas. One, the use or disuse of organs can lead to either the enlargement or the shrinkage or even the disappearance of the organs. When did he believe that the organs can become enlarged? He believed that the organs can become enlarged or bigger and work better and be stronger if that organ is being used often. But if an organ or body part is not used often, what can it lead to? It can lead to the shrinkage, right? It can lead to the part becoming smaller and smaller and eventually disappear altogether. Lamarck's theory was also based on another idea, and that idea was that organisms undergo certain changes during their lifetime, and these changes are then inherited by their offspring, right? In other words, in order to adapt to their environment, what happened? He said that the organisms had to change in some way in order to survive in their environment. And if they have changed, these changes that they have encountered during their lifetime will then be inherited to their offspring. What do you understand by the term Lamarckian evolution? It is a term used to describe the idea that changes in the environment led to changes in the needs of the organisms. The result is change in the organisms themselves that is also passed on to the offspring. In my next video, we will take a look at Charles Darwin's theory of evolution. I hope you enjoyed our video. Like and subscribe.